good morning everyone. Welcome to day 27 of the Forks Over Knives Challenge. So I am in the kitchen making I'm very excited to say a polenta recipe that is a savory recipe rather than a sweet recipe. I loved the cranberry recipe that I made before with the polenta for breakfast. It was super fantastic. So I wanted to try something that was savory. So yesterday was a transition day for me because I come home from work. I've been at work for 7 hours, but I don't have anything that I'm not going to start the day over typically at that point. We were busy. We went and bought a vehicle, a really good deal on a vehicle. So we went and bought a Jeep for my child who is not 15 yet, but he will be. He's getting older every day. So we'll hang out with it and I'll drive it to work probably a couple times every other week and until he gets to be the age where he can start driving. But for now, I was busy yesterday. So I came home and I just hung out with my husband for a while, and then we went shopping, and I came home and I was so tired. By that time it was about 3:45, 4 o'clock. And I'd been up since 4 o'clock the day before. So I was super exhausted. So I just went to bed. So haven't eaten in a really long time, but I'm really excited about this recipe. But I did, before we went shopping for the vehicle, make some polenta. That's the only thing that you need to do with this recipe ahead of time. Is it would be in your best interest to either A, follow the recipe and just buy tube polenta from the store, which you totally could do. I don't know why you would do that. I mean, it's probably the same thing as buying already diced up carrots and diced up cabbage. To me, that's super easy. I really enjoy that. That's what I do. If you want to make a polenta recipe, just go buy the tubes at the store. You don't have to make it yourself. That makes perfectly logical sense to me too. It just made more sense to me to make this because it seems like it's super easy to do. So I did. So I was using Bob's Red Mill, a coarse cornmeal, to make it the first time I made it. And it took a long time till it finally got to the point where it wasn't crunchy anymore when I was cooking on the stove. But when I was shopping, I had found, I'm not a huge fan of that particular brand. I found an organic Arrowhead Mills one, which it's organic, so that's exciting to me. But it is definitely not coarse. Can you see that? It is super fine. So I was kind of a little concerned about that not really working out very well, but it actually worked out great. And it didn't even, I cooked it for maybe 15 minutes before it was not crunchy. There's no crunch left in it anywhere. So it cooked a lot faster. So if you're gonna make your own polenta and you wanna consider that, maybe get the finer grain stuff rather than the coarse grain stuff, it won't take as long. So there you go. So I boiled 5 cups of water and put in 1 3/4 cup of the cornmeal and mixed it really well and kept stirring. Okay, then I put it in a ceramic bread dish and then I just sliced it this morning. So there are my slices. So this is where this recipe starts. That kind of something that you have to do ahead of time or just buy it pre-made. Okay, so next, those slices need to go on a baking sheet and go in the oven. That's gonna be where I put them, right there. In the oven at 425 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. It says that you want to get light brown around the edges. So I definitely, that sounds good to me. I want to do that. And then we're going to mix together ingredients to go on this. So this is Polenta Crostini with Chickpea Pesto. Super excited about this. So basically the pesto part of it is going to be a can of chickpeas. And you're supposed to use a cup of fresh basil. I don't have a cup of fresh basil, so I'm going to use a cup of spinach, and I think that's going to be just fine. It's going to make it green, and it will taste just fine. I have no concerns about that at all. I don't have any baby arugula left, so I'm going to use the spinach. 1 small clove of garlic, 1 teaspoon of white wine vinegar, a pinch of sea salt, and some ground black pepper. So that goes in your food processor, and you blend that up, and that becomes the base. And then on top of that, you want to take, it says a small tomato chopped up, which is about a cup, and a wedge of onion, about 1/4 cup, and a tablespoon of chopped fresh basil. So basically you put that all together, you make from your oven, get your crostini part out, which is your polenta, and then put your pesto on top of it and put the tomato mixture on top of that. So that's what that's supposed to look like. Mine are obviously gonna look like little bread wedges rather than little round circular things. If this had gotten taller, I would have gotten a cookie cutter out and cut little circles out of it so that it would have been cute and pretty and stuff, but it's not. So there we go, it's fine. So I'm gonna go put this together. This should be really easy. I mean, really easy. You use your food processor and your oven and you're done. So, and you've got food. So I'm really excited about this. I think this is gonna work out really, really well. Let me go put this together and I will be back to show you guys what it looks like in just a few minutes. Okay guys, I'm not quite done putting this together. In fact, I haven't really put it together on the plate yet. However, I wanted to talk to you about two things. One, this pesto is so good you could eat it by the spoonful. Like, holy cow, that tastes real good. I did not put any salt in it. I did put black pepper in it. I put a fairly healthy sprinkle of black pepper across it. When I went to blend it, it wasn't blending as well, or processing in the food processor as well as I liked. And I actually was very good, and I added 1 tablespoon of water at a time and scrape down the sides until it blended together. It only needed 2 tablespoons of water. I was gonna just dump some water in there, to be honest with you. I was like, oh, I'll just measure it and put a 1/4 cup. And then I was like, Heather, let's be good and do this like systematically, the intelligent way, and not over process it. So anyways, 1 tablespoon, I ended up adding 2. So that actually made it blend really nice and creamy. Okay. My tomatoes smell delicious. I just used a whole bunch of baby tomatoes and chopped them up because that's what we tend to have in the house. My one child takes them for a snack to school because he loves tomatoes and cucumbers. So he'll just take, like, I'll buy baby cucumbers and he'll take 2 of those and just, you know, he loves them. Anyways, the other thing is, if you make this from store-bought polenta, maybe 15 to 20 minutes in the oven is spot on perfect. If you make your own polenta, maybe it's just not quite the same consistency. I don't know, because this took forever. So I did it for 20 minutes in the oven and it was not looking like it was doing anything. So I put in for another 10 minutes and then it started getting a little bit better, but I poked at one of them and it was like pretty soft. So I flipped them, which was a little bit difficult because the bottom side was fairly gooey, to be honest with you. And then put it in for another 15 minutes. So this took a long time in the oven, which is totally fine. I have plenty of time, but the consistency is awesome. So got my little sets of bread here, and I'm basically just going to put some chickpea pesto on here, and then put some tomato on top. This is essentially what we've got going on. So we've got polenta crostini with chickpea pesto. I am super excited about this, like for real. Let me finish making these and then we will taste them. All right, guys, so let's give one of these a shot. I'm super excited about this. Good thing I have a cutting board under me. That is so good. So I did add some dried basil to the pesto, and I added dried basil to the tomatoes to give it the basil flavor that it's supposed to have. About a tablespoon in each. That's very good. If you like a bolder flavor, a little drizzle of balsamic vinegar on this would probably be very tasty too. But I think this would be really impressive to people, like non-vegan type people, or even vegan people, obviously. It's beautiful, it's delicious. It really wasn't that hard. It's just was kind of time consuming because of the polenta in the oven. So if you bought the tube stuff, it probably wouldn't take as long. So that would probably make sense in this case. Shave off some time. So I'm going to take a bunch of this with me to work for food for today. Polenta is very filling. I don't know if you guys have had it, but it's very filling. And then if I'm hungry when I get home, no problem. There's a refrigerator full of food. I will find something else to eat. And I'm going to leave a little bit of the leftover stuff for my husband. Would not touch this. He was not a fan of tomatoes, so this would not do it for him at all. But my 11-year-old would think this was like the best breakfast ever. So I'm gonna leave enough for him to make himself a couple of them for breakfast. So anyways, that's it for me. Sorry this video was a little bit longer than normal, but this is definitely a recipe worth checking out, guys. And I will see you tonight for some exercise. Alrighty guys, so I am home and I am super tired, but I just got changed in some clothes so I can go downstairs and work out. I visited with my daughter who came home from college for a few hours to visit with my husband, and he made the peanut sauce from the other night because he thought it was so good. He was like, oh, I gotta make this for the kids. So he did. That was really awesome. Connor had some of the crostini with chickpea pesto for breakfast, and apparently said, told my husband that he really liked the basil pesto and the tomatoes, didn't really care for the polenta part. I took it with me. I had it. It was fine. I thought it was great. The topping was real good. That chickpea pesto was really tasty. My technician had a slice and she had the exact same opinion as Connor. The polenta was fine, but it wasn't great, but the topping was awesome. So just a heads up, if you make that, maybe you should put it on toast. instead of going through the effort of making the polenta. But yeah, the chickpea pesto part with the tomatoes was super, super tasty. So that's it for me for today, guys. I have to work out quick so that I can go to bed because I am super, super tired, as you can see. Anywho, all right, if you guys are have any questions about this recipe, let me know. Otherwise, I will be excited in talking to you again tomorrow for another recipe from the cookbook that I'm excited to try.